Let me say this plainly before I begin. This is not a terrible sequel. The problems with this movie are far more academic for me than emotional. To put it plain, The Lost World simply has more shortcomings than it does positives. But this isn't like Spider-Man 3, where it's just completely off the rails stupid. It's more like Ghostbusters 2, where it really just does more of the same stuff, but without any of the magic that made the first one amazing. My biggest problem with The Lost World is that it took everything I gave Jurassic Park credit for not doing, and does it. We have a situation here where another island with dinosaurs is visited by a family and a little girl gets attacked. She's fine, but Hammond wants a team to go out there and check on everything. At least that's what he says. In reality, there is already another team going out there to capture and cage these animals once again, and Malcolm and his team have to stop them. Right off the bat, The Lost World beats us over the face with action, and it doesn't take long to realize that this is its prime motivation going forward. Gone are the moments like the Brachiosaurus strolling through its habitat where we can simply stare in awe at the wonder of these creatures. The second a dinosaur is featured in this film, it almost immediately attacks. Come see a girl? Attack. Stegosaurus is walking majestically through the landscape? Attack. T-Rex? Attack. Etc. The film simply never takes time out to marvel at any of the wonders here. Every moment in this film seems like a setup for the next action sequence, and you're soon left wondering whatever became of the plot. Even when the film strays off the beaten path and gives you a threat that is not the dinosaurs, it refrains from doing anything that even approaches plausibility. The scene in the trailers, for example, where all of the characters manage to hang on even as they are dropped suddenly from blinding heights, is absolutely ridiculous. And let's not forget the incredibly out-of-place Godzilla reference and the moment where a velociraptor is overcome by the powers of gymnastics. I'm not even kidding about that. Jeff Goldblum returns as Ian Malcolm, an outstanding character in a supporting role, but given the lead, I actually found him more obnoxious than not. He is accompanied by a group of characters that is more than double the size of the cast of the original film, with the two large groups eventually clustering into one group and traversing the terrain all at once. It's a far cry from the groups of 3 or 4 characters in the first film being so eloquently broken up into different parts of the story. In this situation, the large group of characters becomes more cumbersome than fluent, and things get confused very easily for the characters as well as the audience. More is definitely less. Then we have the biggest cop-out of them all, John Hammond's nephew as the main villain. I praised Jurassic Park up and down for not simply resorting to making Hammond a money-hungry opportunist who only wants to exploit the dinosaurs. That's exactly what this character is, and as a result, he is a predictable bore. Accompanying him is the stereotype hunter who wants to take out a T-Rex. Honestly, I almost forgot to mention him in this review because his story goes absolutely nowhere. All of this is threaded together by a simple concept of every character having to get from one side of the island to the other without being eaten or trampled in the process. The crew camps out, gets attacked by something, lather, rinse, repeat. It simply feels repetitive and padded with no real spark of imagination, especially for a film that bears the name Jurassic Park. Gone, too, is any of the underlying themes, messages, or topics in the first film, save for a half-assed analogy regarding capturing animals for the purposes of captivity. Save the Dinosaurs isn't exactly relevant, and its connection to the real-life problem of exploited wildlife only mildly translates. Taking things to their furthest extreme, the film actually switches locations in the end from the island to city streets. This was the only part of the film that was truly bad, and it's the part that makes you forget you're watching a Jurassic Park movie in the first place. As soon as the T-Rex hits pavement, the film begins its new life as a parody of itself. There was simply no point of doing this except to show us a T-Rex walking down the streets of San Diego, and as nice as that was for a second, the film would have been far more consistent if they had just kept it on the damn island. In all fairness, The Lost World is a sequel that is more unnecessary than bad, but that doesn't change the fact that the beating heart that made Jurassic Park amazing seems to have been replaced with dinosaur attacks and subpar villains. If you must have more Jurassic Park, it's a somewhat passable sequel. Just don't expect to be taken to the same magical place that made the first film a classic.